So I grew a bunch of Seminole pumpkins and butternut squash. So I thought to bring y'all along on a little harvest to see how many I got. I hope you like this little video and will like and subscribe. And if you do, thank you. This is one little patch where I have the squash and Seminole pumpkins growing. I've already harvested one 5-gallon bucket full out of here, which I'll add to the count. There are a few pumpkins like this one that are still green, which I'm not going to harvest if they're attached to a healthy vine like this. But I have heard that you can eat green. If you've ever done anything along the lines of preparing and eating green pumpkins, I'd be curious to know how you did it and what it was like. If you could leave some comments about it, that would be much appreciated. Now, I've heard about this specifically with respect to the Seminole pumpkins. I don't know if it applies to the other types. Now, this one right here looks pretty perfect. That's a nice butternut type squash right there. The ones that are shaped like this actually come from a volunteer plant a few years back. And so I don't really know specifically what type of squash this is, but it has all the qualities of a butternut. So these type came from a volunteer that was growing in completely unamended soil, just dirt, and it did very well. So I was very impressed by it, and I kept the seeds and I've replanted them over the years, and they have mixed with the Seminole pumpkins because they're obviously the same family, I guess, the Moscatos, and so that's why I planted them as much as possible and gotten a lot of food from them. Alright, so that's the little harvest from this patch, one 5-gallon bucket full. But I did see 4 or 5, maybe more light colored greenish ones that look like they need to darken up probably, so they're still hiding in the little pumpkin patch to be harvested later. They were good size, like this one, but I did get some little ones just now, such as these, like baseball, softball size, grapefruit size. And in my experience, these little ones are not generally as sweet. They don't have as much sweet flavor as the big ones, but you can still cook them up and add your own sweetener. My favorite sweetener to add to them has been nice local honey. So here's my second little pumpkin patch that I let grow through my main garden. I've already harvested a bucket or two full out of here as well. So let's see how many more I got. Alright, so there you have it. That's a good 3 5-gallon buckets worth of squash, winter squash, Seminole pumpkins, and not counting this one yellow squash. So believe it or not, I measured one of these medium big ones, I guess, the weight of it, and one of these is at least 5 pounds. 5 pounds. So it takes 5 or 6 of these to fill a 5-gallon bucket. So that's 25 to 30 pounds of pumpkins per bucket, times 3 buckets that I harvested today. That's 90 pounds worth of pumpkins and butternut squash. And plus there are, probably at least a couple of buckets worth of green pumpkins that are still unharvested. So that would be another 50 pounds maybe. So that's getting to be well over 100 pounds, maybe even close to 150 pounds that I've seen that are recent new harvests. Now, but like I said before, I already harvested at least 2 buckets worth, and I'm going to go get those, and we're going to pile them all up and see what's going on. I did want to emphasize an awesome thing about these pumpkins. This one right here is probably a perfect specimen. It is so sweet, just cooked. Baked in the oven for maybe 45 minutes or so. You actually split it in half, you scoop out the seeds, and then you bake it in the oven for maybe 45 minutes to an hour, depends on what temperature. And you can eat it straight out of the skin, just like that. So sweet. All these are going to be similar to that, with different levels of sweetness depending on how good they grew on the vines. So that's awesome also food. Worth emphasizing about these types of pumpkins, the Seminole that are native to the South, is that they are super easy to grow. You just plant them in some moderate soil and they take off. And then on top of that, once you harvest them like these, they are super awesome storage for all season. They last for months with no problems. Very easy. And that's just keeping them in like room temperature in the house at most. So if you keep them well chilled, they'll last a year, no problem. I mean, it's unbelievable how awesome of a food these Seminole pumpkins are, and I don't quite understand why they're not more popular in the general market. Okay, so actually I'm a little surprised. I had forgotten how many pumpkins I had already harvested. So after adding it all up, it turns out I got 6 bucketfuls approximately already. Plus the 3 that I got today, that's 9. And that's not even counting about the, I've probably eaten a bucketful's worth as well. So that's at least 10 bucketfuls, 5-gallon buckets that I've harvested this season. So 10 buckets, each bucket is about 25 pounds. That adds up to a grand total of about 250 pounds worth of pumpkins. And right here is maybe 225 pounds worth of pumpkins that I got showing. Oh, and I forgot to add in the approximately 2 buckets worth of pumpkin squash that I still have to harvest out there that I'm letting ripen. So what can I harvest before our first major frost of the year? There's another 5-gallon bucket, another 50 pounds, so that's up to a grand total of like 300 pounds this season. That's my best so far. What's yours? Subscribe.